The lilies they grow, they toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothe us, which today the feet and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you? O ye of little faith, seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord.
Seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, evil flock, for it is my pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that filleth not, where no shift, neither moth corrupteth. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The election, an aristocracy, meaning rule of the best, a group or class considered superior to others, a government by the best men in the state, a governing body composed of the best men in the state, and that's the elect. We have, all right, 7 of 11, and it reads, "But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace." That word for peace in the Hebrew is shalom, which goes into safety, soundness in body, meaning we're going to truly have rest, welfare, health, prosperity. So we're going to fully enjoy the planet Earth. We're going to rule and exist within the Lord as we were created to do. I'm ready to rule the world, man.
Let the golden light of this sunset guide our hearts in peace.
Fear not, evil flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful leg, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right. And what I want to get into this morning, all right, this morning news and prophecy, going to water shortages, all right, and the harbinger of death. It's a term, right, that beloved elder Apostle Gabar, uses to describe Esau. Okay, and you see how this man rules the earth. He is all right, the harbinger of death. He is the forerunner of death in the earth, man. And when you go into the scriptures speak about these very times, that we live in. All right, and that's why having a thorough understanding of prophecy. Okay, because the only way to understand what's going on and what's happening is to have an understanding of prophecy, man. Through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shai, which is a true understanding of prophecy, man. Okay, because this is prophecy, all right, goes into the details of what we see happening and how this thing is going to play out, and that's our rest. That's what we rest in, man. So when you go into matter of fact, I started at verse 6, 2nd Ezra 15:6 in the GNT. It says, because wickedness has spread everywhere and evil has reached its limit. Therefore, the Lord says, I will no longer remain silent about the wickedness of these godless people. And what we're seeing is the Lord, all right, is beginning to move, all right, in the earth, man. The Heavenly Father, all right, is at the point to where he's finna cut out this wicked empire, this wicked society, all right, this godless society, okay, because people are getting further and further away from the fear of the Lord. This is a generation that does not fear a higher power. They do not fear the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, they don't reverence his son. Okay, and the Lord makes a name for himself. He gets a reputation for himself, all right, by the way of judgment. Okay, so the Lord is getting ready, all right, to bring fear and the reverence to his name and the name of his son, okay, through judgment, man. Okay, because this is a society where everybody is out of pocket, man. So when you keep reading, I will no longer remain silent about the wickedness of these godless people. I will no longer tolerate it. They have murdered innocent people, and the blood they have spilled cries out to me for revenge. The souls of the righteous are constantly pleading for vengeance, man. Because we know it's gonna get to a time, all right, when the Lord's gonna allow, the devil, to get at the elect, but there's only going to be, a portion of the elect that's going to be martyrs, man, because there's a standard promise. Okay, but there are going to be martyrs, man. That's part of prophecy, man. You see, and those martyrs, they're going to be crying out, for revenge, man. You see, and when it gets to the point where the Lord is allowing, members of the elect to be martyrs, man, okay, it won't be long, man. It's because see, this the time of the man the mandate of the sea hip. Okay, when martyrs, when there's martyrs for Yahweh Shah, well, this is during the time of the sea hip being mandated, and we know once he mandate the sea hip, man, okay, the doors open for nuclear war and the return of Yahweh Shah. Okay, so those are the martyrs. The scriptures say they're going to be in heavens pleading, for justice against this man. All right. And then those that are martyred are going to be resurrected when Yahweh Shai comes to get vengeance, man. you see? You see how it's set up for the elect to win. Okay? No matter what, man. Even in death, the elect win. Because when Yahweh Shai is sent back to take vengeance, okay, on this wicked kingdom, okay, well, those that were martyred in the name of Yahweh Shai, they're going to be resurrected. And not only resurrected, but resurrected to immortality, man, and power. You see, he said the souls of the righteous are constantly pleading for vengeance. It says, let there be no doubt, says the Lord, I will hear the plea of all the innocent people who have been murdered, and I will take vengeance for what has been done to them. Okay? And see, these prophecies are playing out. He's building out, his infrastructure so he can switch over to his new world order. Okay, and within the new world order, you're gonna have to see him. Okay, but there's gonna be, all right, a remnant of Israel. Okay, that's not gonna take that, man. All right, and the Lord is gonna provide for the elect in these times, and there are gonna be martyrs of the elect in this time, man. You see, But in the midst of that, all right, the Lord is going to come back with vengeance. You see, there's going to be a vengeance for those deaths. Okay, when you murder another king's subject, guess what? That king is going to avenge those deaths, man. You know, we belong to Yahweh. We don't belong to this world. You know, so if when Esau, gets at the elect, okay, hey, he's going to be murdering another king's subjects, man. Okay, which is going to cause for revenge, and it's going to be swiftly, man. You see, it says, "My people are being led to the slaughter like a flock of sheep. They will no longer have to live in Egypt." Why? Because the Lord is coming to deliver us, man. Okay, He's not going to leave us, vulnerable, and out here in this situation. Nah, man, it's going to be a great deliverance, man. And Yahweh Shai is coming to bring an end to the evil empire, man, of Esau, man. You see, Yahweh Shai is coming to bring an end. So when you go to verse 11, it says, "I will use all my strength and power to bring them out of their land." All right, and He's going to use, all right, Yahweh Shai. Okay, because the scriptures say how Yahweh Shai has what? All power. Yahweh Shai said that all power has been given to Him in heaven and in earth, man. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is coming back with unlimited power. Okay, to wage a righteous war against His wicked kingdom and to deliver His elect, man. Okay, and even with the power to resurrect those that died in His name. Okay, for His testimony says, "I will bring disasters upon the Egyptians as I did earlier and will destroy their countries," man. So we're finna see America go through a lot of disasters, man. It's gonna be a lot of things that happen to this place, going into the build up to this nuclear war and the return of Yahweh. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of things happen. Esau, he's gonna be uh, used as a tool, to bring certain disasters and judgments. Okay, and then there's going to be things happening that's above Esau, man. All right, that the Lord's going to be doing to bring disasters, okay, to America, man. Verse 12 said the whole land will be mourning, it will be shaken. All right, the whole land will be in mourning, it will be shaken to its foundation when I, the Lord, strike it and pound on it, man. And the Lord's going to pound this place with plagues, man. And that last plague is the missiles and the chariots. Okay, so we're going to see plague after plague. It's going to be continued, more poly crisis, more multiple things happening at the same time, compounded upon each other, which is going to amplify each other, man. Okay, so the Lord got this thing mapped out. Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, has this thing completely mapped out, man. All right, and we're on that path of judgment, man. Okay, and like I say, this devil, his days are numbered, in rulership. You see, verse 13 said, "The farmers will mourn because their seed will fail to sprout, and their trees will be destroyed by blight, hail, and terrible storms." Okay, and you see a lot of things happening with the weather, which we know Esau, he has the ability to tamper with the weather, and then above Esau, man, the Most High is making things happening, man. Okay, the Most High is causing certain weather patterns and certain droughts and certain things in certain places, man. And whatever Esau is doing, it's the Lord using him to do it. Esau is just a tool, man. Okay, he's not an independent, standalone entity, man. Esau is just a tool being used, man. And whatever he's doing plays into the agenda of what the Lord wants, man. Okay, as far as judgment, you see. So I want a video. I got a video I want to go into. I'm gonna get one more prophecy, man, because it's gonna get bad in America, man. America will be the worst place to be on the planet Earth, man. As judgment intensifies. Okay, there's no good news, okay, for America, man. All right, this has been the platform, okay, of wickedness in the earth, man. The elites have used America, all right, to to forward, all right, rebellion. All right, this great rebellion against the Most High that we see in the earth, where America has been that platform, all right, used by the elites, man. Okay, now when you go here, it's Isaiah 19:4 in the GNT. It says, "I will hand the Egyptians over to a tyrant." Yeah, you Americans. You Americans have been given over to a tyrant, man. Okay, Trump is a tyrant. He's the face, okay, of this technocracy, man. Okay, he's the bridge, okay, that's taking you people from this delusion over democracy, okay, to a tyrannical technocracy, man. Okay, it says, I will hand the Egyptians over to a tyrant, to a cruel king who will rule them. I, the Lord Almighty, have spoken, man. So it's the Lord, okay, that put the spirit on Esau, all right, to try to dismantle, America in a very cruel way, okay, so that he can forward his new world order, because America has to be caught up, so he's going to take drastic measures, okay, in America, all right, to get them caught up to this new world order society, man. America has to be broken down. All right, America is used to too many privileges, too many rights. Okay, the right to bear arms, and all these choices, and this freedom of movement, freedom of speech. See, all that is a no-go in this new world order, man. Okay, so the the elites have in their mind that they're going to break this place down through terror, man. You see? And it says, verse 5, it says, the water will be low in the Nile, and the river will gradually dry up. Okay, and these things are literally happening, man. Because the Mississippi is like the Nile, of America, man. When you go into, and the Nile was crucial, for trade and commerce, okay, agriculture, in ancient Egypt. Okay. And the Mississippi is like that to America, man. You see? So you have these things literally happen. It also goes into the ripple effect of the economy. Okay, as we keep going, it says the channels of the river will stink as they slowly go dry. Reeds and rushes will wither. And there's a attack on American agriculture, and it has been for a long time. I was watching the video the other day. This rancher said they went from in the 70s, they went from 7 million ranchers to today they only have 600,000. Okay, so there's been an attack on American agriculture by the elites for a long time. Okay, and they're intentionally disrupting. All right, these supply chains. Okay, agriculture, food production. Okay, these things are intentionally being interrupted, man, because they want to create a atmosphere of desperation. You see, and the Lord wants to judge. The He wants famine, especially in America, man. Okay, He wants you people to wild out and purge each other out, man. Okay, this is the judgment of the Lord in progress, man. You see, and at least in their mind, they're thinking that this is another step, to accomplishing their new world order, but they're just fulfilling prophecy, man. They're just a pawn in the game of the Lord. You see, the elites are pawns in the Lord's game. Okay, that the Lord is using, okay, to fulfill His purpose and His will. All right, it says, and all the crops planted along the banks of the Nile will dry up and be blown away. Everyone who earns a living by fishing, all right, in the Nile will groan and cry. Their hooks and their nets will be useless. Yeah, man, because the job market is shrinking. You have AI, that's replacing people, but then you have, the excuse of AI, to shrink the job market. Even if AI is not directly replacing their job, well, they're able to use the excuse of AI, to shrink the job market. These things are being done intentionally, man. All right, because they plan on depopulating. So these big corporations, they got the memo, okay, to to downsize, man. Okay, because remember, this man plans on a new world order with just 500 million people. Okay, so if you have close to 8 billion people in the earth, man, he plans on a lot of people not being here. He plans on hundreds of millions of Americans, which there's about 300, 40, 50 Americans, man. He plans on, a few hundred million, a couple hundred million or more to be out of here, man. Okay, he's saying that AI is making certain degrees have no value. Okay, AI is just taking over whole markets. Okay, whole fields of labor, certain work, especially, a lot of these jobs are fluff jobs anyway. Okay, a lot of these jobs are just here to prop up, the market. Okay, so what we're seeing, all right, is this man is deeming most people useless. Okay, their expertise, their profession. All right, and saying, well, look, you're useless now. We got something better. We on to something else, man. Okay, he said those who make linen cloth will be in despair. Yeah, this whole thing of because this consumer, American economy, thrives off consumerism. Okay, that consumerism finna dry up, man, because people are not gonna have anything they're not gonna have anything to consume with. Okay, it says weavers and skilled workers will be broken and depressed, man. Okay, so these are the times that's coming, man. Okay, it's going to be because America, economy has created a lot of third world countries, man. Okay, well, guess what? All that coming back to America, man. America is going to be worse than the third world country. Why? Because of the guns. You see, it has the potential to be way more violent, all right, than these third world countries that suffer poverty. You see, these people in America, all right, poverty, they're going to be, they're going to feel betrayed, okay, entitled, and they're going to rage out, man. Okay, you see. So let's go here. And um we spoke about how the Mississippi is like the Nile, of America. Well, let's see what's happening with all right, the Mississippi. Let's go here.
America's largest river has dropped to 28% of its normal flow at Memphis. And the port that moves 60% of every grain export this country produces has just halted operations. The Memphis gauge is reading minus 10.8 feet, within inches of the all-time record low set in October 2023. The number 4 inland port in the United States is no longer loading barges to capacity. The United States Army Corps of Engineers shoals it dredged in 2022, in 23, and in 2024. 12 states across the Mississippi Basin are now under federal drought designation. Economy roughly $20 billion. Shippers paid a $200 per ton premium on grain that year just to move it. A saltwater wedge from the Gulf is already creeping past Plaquemines Parish toward New Orleans drinking water. Bring the rain back has arrived in the wrong half of the basin. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The Army Corps did not plan for a fourth consecutive historic low. The dredges have been emergency deployed to the same 8 river bends every autumn since 2022. The federal hydrologists who set the Mississippi forecast no longer call this a drought. They call it a new baseline. This is what no one told you about the river that built America. The story does not start in 2026. It starts in 1988, when the worst single-year drought in modern memory grounded barges from St. Louis to Memphis and pushed agricultural losses past $10 billion. For more than 2 decades, that summer was the reference point. Then came 2012, when the river dropped so far at Thebes, Illinois, that the Army Corps brought in explosives and dynamited bedrock outcrops out of the channel to keep barges moving. Then came October 2022. The Memphis gauge dropped to minus 11.04 feet and set a new all-time record. In October 2023, the gauge broke its own record at minus 12.04 feet. The saltwater wedge from the Gulf reached Belchasse. Plaquemines Parish was put on bottled water. The Corps built an underwater sill near the river mouth to hold the wedge back. Then 2024 brought a third consecutive historic low. Shippers paid $200 per ton in premiums on grain that previously moved for $30. And now, in May 2026, the spring gauge is already running deep negative, months before the seasonal low normally arrives. Watch what is moving. The river starts as a stream you can step across at Lake Itasca in Minnesota, 2,320 miles from the Gulf. It collects water from 31 states on its way south. The upper Mississippi runs through Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri. At Cairo, Illinois, it meets the Ohio River, which in a normal year carries more water than the Mississippi itself and offsets a dry upper basin. In 2026, the Ohio is also dry. From Cairo south, the river runs through Memphis, Vicksburg, Natchez, Baton Rouge, and finally New Orleans, where the deep draft ocean ships load grain that started its journey on barges 1,500 miles upstream. Past New Orleans, the freshwater plume normally pushes the saltwater of the Gulf back into open water. In 2026, the plume is too weak, and the salt is moving the other way. Here is how it actually works, and it is not the textbook version. The headwaters run below normal precipitation for the third winter in 4 years. Snowpack thins. Spring rain fails to recharge the soil. The air enters the system at the top. The channel narrows. As discharge falls, the river abandons its banks and retreats to the deepest thread of its own bed. Sandbars that were 6 feet underwater the year before now break the surface. The navigable width of the channel shrinks from 1,000 feet to 200, and in the worst bends, to a single toes beam. The barge is ground. A fully loaded grain barge drafts 9 feet of water and needs at least 11 feet under the keel to move. When the Memphis gauge drops below -8, tow captains cut their loads in half, moving 2 barges where they used to move 6. Below -10, they stop loading at all. The grain stays on the dock, and the dock price drops. The mud cones build. Each year, the Army Corps Mississippi Valley Division Emergency dredges the same critical bends: Mahone Bend below Memphis, Cat Island below Vicksburg, Lake Providence on the Louisiana border. They cut a channel and they dump the spoil downstream. The next high water redeposits it. The next low water finds it back where it was. The riverbed baseline rises in the same places year after year, even as the surface drops. Then the salt wedge moves up. The Mississippi enters the Gulf at one of the largest river deltas in North America, and the fresh water pushing south is what holds the denser ocean water back. When the freshwater discharge drops, the seawater slides up the riverbed in a wedge, heavier water under lighter water, advancing upstream against the current. In 3, the wedge reached Bellechasse. In 2026, it is testing the same line in May, 4 months earlier than expected. The intakes for New Orleans drinking water are within range. That is what is starting. A tow captain in Memphis loads 4 barges instead of 9 and watches the same shoal at Moon Bend rise out of the water for the 4th October in a row. He has been pushing grain on this river for 22 years. He had never seen the bottom of his own channel in his career until 2022. He has seen it every year since. A corn farmer at Vicksburg watches the elevator dock price for soybeans drop because the barges to move them are not running. The grain he harvested last fall is still in the bin. The grain he plants in the spring will compete with last year's grain for any barge that does move. A water utility manager in Bellechasse runs a chloride test on the river intake. The number this week is higher than last week. He has the protocol for the next number on his desk. Scale up. The Mississippi River system moves roughly 500 million tons of cargo a year in normal years, and carries 60% of all United States grain exports. 12 states in the basin are under federal drought designation. The 2023 low water cost the American economy an estimated $20 billion. The 2024 shipping premium of $200 per ton landed on every loaf of bread, every gallon of ethanol, every bag of dog food that traces back to American grain. Scale up again. The United States grain export economy was built on the assumption that the Mississippi is open. Insurance contracts, port investments, foreign supply contracts, and farm-level planting decisions all price that assumption in. 4 consecutive years of historic low water have moved the assumption. The Army Corps Mississippi Valley Division is now running its emergency dredging program as a standing annual rotation. The Mississippi River cities intending, and then the receipt. The Super El Nino that the Pacific has just delivered was supposed to be the reset. Classical El Nino teleconnections wet the lower Mississippi basin, and the lower basin is getting some of that rain. But the river is fed at kiss.
And I can attest to that, because we've been getting a lot of rain, these last few weeks. A lot of heavy rain, down here in the lower half of the Mississippi River. We've been getting a lot of rain, so I can attest to that. Okay. And if a brother could also get 2nd Ezra 16:21 and 22 Bible Shah. I'm playing a little more of this.
The rain is falling on the wrong half of the map. So what happens next? No one knows whether the Memphis gauge breaks its own 2023 record this autumn, or holds at -11, or in a way that would require a Pacific signal nobody currently sees, climbs back to seasonal normal. No one knows whether the saltwater wedge reaches the New Orleans intakes in 2026, or holds at Bellechasse for one more year. No one knows whether the Army Corps gets the budget for a permanent sill at the mouth or keeps building temporary ones. What the federal hydrologists do know is that the baseline has moved, the dredges are deployed, the wedge is advancing, and the El Nino is landing in the wrong half of the basin. The river is still dropping, the barges are still grounded, the dredges are still cutting the same 8 bends, the saltwater is still creeping past Plaquemines Parish, the grain is still backing up on the dock, the El Nino is still arriving too late at the source. And 12 states are still watching their share of the largest river in North America run lower every week. The baseline has shifted. The dredges have not stopped since 2022. And the river that built America is still running below the line.
And see, this is not common knowledge. You look at, let me see. And see, people don't see this happening. They don't see the Mississippi, running, below, all right, it's normal capacity. No one is concerned, okay, about the Mississippi River, all right, the grain, okay, because people are just used to this place functioning, okay? People are just used to this place functioning. They don't see this place is breaking down right underneath them, man. And they're just one aspect of it, man. So much that's compounded, they have all these fires, that's been destroying, grazing land for the cattle. The smoke from the fire destroys the respiratory from the cattle. Okay. They, the fertilizer, they weren't able to plant as much this year, because once you miss the planting season, you miss it. Okay. So the whole thing with the fertilizer, to where they're not going to yield as much. Okay. So all these things are just compounded, man. And eventually, all right, it's going to break out into severe famine, severe crisis, okay, which is going to be chaos, man. Okay, 2 Ezra 16:21, it says, behold, this is brother servants of Yahweh, behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Okay, so people still are able, to move around. You still got a little convenient. Still, certain things are affordable. So they're not seeing that this major famine, these major shortages, okay, are right here at the door. People still think themselves in good case. They can follow celebrity gossip. They can post on social media. They still can, move around. It's vacation season. So people are not understanding the circumstances that are brewing. Okay, that's why I said, even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and confusion, man. Because a lot of people are going to be confused when they instantly don't have access, to the things that they once had in abundance. It's going to be a great confusion. Okay, because people are just used to things operating. People are just used to things being there. Okay, it says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. Okay, and the stage is being set for a lot of people to starve out, man. Okay, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Okay, because most of society is dependent on what? The grid to feed them. Okay, people's ability to feed themselves has diminished drastically in America, man. Okay, America is a society of consumerism. Okay, it's not a society of agriculture. Only a few small percentage, all right, do agriculture in America, man. Everyone else is consumer based, man. Okay, so we're going to see the stage is set for many people to starve. Okay, that are so dependent. Esau has gradually got more and more of the population dependent on him. Okay, to feed themselves, man. Okay, and for Jake, that's part of the curses. Going to the devil for the want of all things. You see, but the difference between the elect and everyone else, we got Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. We understand that, that the Lord is going to provide. Okay, the Lord is going to nothing less. We're in the time now to expect miracles, man. Okay, because there's no way, to get around, dealing with these calamities other than the Lord. The scripture says, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side. Okay, it says, in the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy. Yeah, because it's going to be so violent. When you have people starving with all this weaponry, man, you figure it out. Okay, because it's already a grimy, satanic, individualistic society. Entitled, so you figure it out. When people are starving with all this weaponry, all right, people are gonna be at each other, man. So let's go here. I got another video I want to show you. Even with the data center protests are steady upticking, man. So let's play this. All right. So this is people standing in the rain to protest against these data centers, man. People going through eminent domain. All right, so you have people now standing in the rain to protest these data centers. So let's play this.
Hey, you guys. It's Nancy from Coweta County. Today we are out here with rural Coweta. There are 4 signing spots. This is just one of them. This just goes to show you our community cares. They don't want the data centers. They don't want the eminent domain. We don't want to give up what makes rural Coweta rural.
Guys, this line is not dying down. This has been going on since 9 a.m. Like I said, this is 4 locations over Coweta County that people are turning out for, showing up to, and signing this petition to end the data centers. Come with me and let me just show you how long this line is. Some people have been waiting for 2.5 hours to sign this petition.
Coweta County, I believe, is in Georgia. If people are wondering where this is located.
It's not just me. It's my whole county. It starts with one data center, and it leads to them pumping out more and more and more eminent domain, taking people's homes so that way they can provide the power to these stations. It's insane. That's my whole point that I'm trying to stress, is it's not just one data center coming to Coweta County. We're working on number 10. We're working on number 10, trying to come in here. 4 are already approved. What do you think is going to happen?
Pause here for a second. She's talking about eminent domain. Eminent domain can be used for different reasons to take your home. This is something that is discussed in my documentary, Remove Black Erasure, in Boston. One of the ways they were able to take homes from Black people in Roxbury in Boston was they used eminent domain. And see, this is a reminder that what they do, the government, what they do to Black people, they will eventually do to white people too in rural America. They start with us. They start with the indigenous people. They eventually make their way to the white folks in rural America. And rural America is prime because you have more land.
Our resolution rate right now is 90%, which is super impressive. We're seeing that customers are satisfied as soon as Finn has that conversation.
Yeah, that made me think of the precept in Baruch. If a brother want to post it, it's Baruch 4. I think like 30. Miserable are the cities that afflicted thee. I believe like Baruch chapter 4, and maybe start like at 30 to 31, somewhere in there. But a brother can post that Bob Shah. All right. Because yeah, you Edomites are going to catch hell because you're elites. Okay. They just look at you as going. Okay. You're not of these upper echelon, all right, oligarch families. Okay. They look at you as disposable. Okay. And they're going to bulldoze over you to establish this new world order. Okay. This is what we're seeing happening, man. All right. You Joe Blow Edomites. Okay. There's no your privileges, your Edomite privileges that you've enjoyed in America for so long is gone. Okay, now they come for your property to establish these data centers, man. All these ranches and farming and man, they finna put a data center on your ass, on top of your ass, man. Okay, and they don't care about you gathering in the rain. The data center on the way. Okay, the data center is on the way. You're not gonna stop them bulldozers from rolling, man. Okay, so let's play a little more.
Where she is in Georgia, this is not a dense area, right? So Boston is dense. New York City is dense. We don't have a lot of land that you can take, a lot of green space. Now, they may knock some buildings down and build something right in that spot. But for the most part, we don't have a lot of land. We just don't. But in rural America, they do. If you have lived, I lived in South Carolina, Georgia, North, I've lived down south. There's a lot more land there. And the data centers, they love rural America because they can make it as big as they want. They are now coming for rural America. And they've been looking down there at rural America for a long time. You see? And so I think now people are starting to see, whoa, they don't care about us either. No, they don't. They're looking at the class issue. If you ain't got no money, they're going to take what they can from you if they can, if they're allowed to do it. Watch a little bit more of this. I'm going to tell you how to fight back against this. But these are all the people who don't want the data center coming in Coweta County.
Already taken 330 people's properties with eminent domain. What happens when they need the power 10? That's the power 1. It's going to completely decimate this county, our property values, and everything that we have built our entire lives. And not just our lives, generational lives. Most of this is passed down from family to family. We've all lived here our entire lives, not just me.
All right, finish. Okay. And I want to fast forward. I'm gonna get these precepts first, but then this part is interesting too. You know, the next part, the next little clip I'm gonna play. But let's get these precepts. All right, this is the brother Taza one, hopeful elect. All right, Baruch 4:31. It said, "Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall." Yeah, so you Edomites, because see, a lot of you Edomites, this land, and this generational, land that you have, well, you got it off the back of slavery, man. Okay, this Edomite privilege, this white privilege that you Edomites, you everyday Edomites have enjoyed, well, that was at the cost, okay, of the great robbery and murder of our people, man. Okay, first what you done to the Native Americans, because you came and took their land. Okay, this is the same thing you did to the Native Americans, man. So it's good that you Edomites are getting eminent, all right, domain, all right, put on your ass, man. Okay, the same thing that these devils, okay, the higher up devils came in and colonized this whole hemisphere, man. The whole Western Hemisphere, man. Canada, America, Central South America, the islands. Okay, our people was inhabiting this place, man. Okay, and they came and took it. Okay, through war, through robbery, through wicked decrees, through false treaties. Okay, so now you average day Edom, you average Edomites. Okay, now you're on the menu. Okay, because you stand in the way of the ambition of your elites. Okay, and it's beautiful. Okay, that they hitting your ass with this eminent domain. Okay, everything working in our favor, man. Hey, verse 30, brother. Yashima, all right. Yashima, tribe of Judah. It said, "Miserable are the cities which thy children serve. Miserable is she that received thy sons," and that she is America, man. Okay. So you Edomites, you benefited off the labor of the Israelites for a long time. Okay. Now misery is coming. America is cursed, man. Okay, for what is done to the Lord's people, because we was giving it to your hand for a punishment, but you devils took it too far. Okay, you become proud, all right, and now you're the interests of the elites don't work in your favor anymore. Okay, it's working against you, and hopefully it's the Lord working against you, man, and He's gonna get you. And your elites are going to slavery as well. Okay, you're gonna be in slavery with your elites. Okay, just as we went into slavery with our nobles, and our kings, well, you're going into slavery with your elites, man. Okay, and your elites will bring hell on you before it's all said and done. Okay, Jake been going through this, man. They were, Rosewood, Black Wall Street, certain communities that they put underwater in Georgia. Okay, matter of fact, real quick, what the, see if I can find it real quick. All right, so this happened in Georgia. Let me see. That was put real quick. See if it gives some. Yep, that's the name of it, Oscarville. Let's go this real quick. All right, so we don't feel sorry for you devils, man. Okay, it says verse 33. All right, the brother Taz won't hope for elect. It says, "For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad at thy fall, so shall she be grieved, all right, for her own desolation." Okay, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. And we're seeing that, man. We're seeing the Lord do this, man. Okay, because I think let's go to it real quick. Cause yeah, this happened in, let's see. So I just looked it up real quick, and I remember doing the video on this. It's a video out there. You know, I think you put it on YouTube about the black community that was put on the water. So it said the black community you're referring to is Oscarville, located in Forsyth, all right, County, Georgia. In 1912, following the murder of a local white woman, all right, the same story, okay, white mob violently forced nearly all of Forsyth County black residents to flee, burning homes and churches. And these are the average Edomites that was doing this, okay? These are average Edomites that's doing this. You see, because they had the authority because of the system set up by your elites, okay? It says burning homes and churches in 1950s. In 1950, all right, the remnants of this abandoned community was submerged on the water when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, all right, so the U.S. military, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built the Beaufort Dam to create Lake Lanier, okay? And this is all in Georgia, okay? So this is 1912, all right? This is over 14 years ago, okay? Almost 115 years ago. So this has been happening to us, man. Okay, and they were just doing this out of spite because they could. Okay, so you Edomites crying about these data centers, good. It's good that Esau is putting these death centers, all right, right in your backyard, man. Okay, so let's go back. I want to play this next clip, you know, to show you, all right, that Esau finna get draconian, man. You see, you remember we went into, brothers been going into the anti-tech extremists. You know, that's the new term. You know, it's a new category that the devil got. You know, a new category to accuse and lump people in. Okay, this anti-tech extremism. So let's listen to this real quick. Go back to this.
Water they are going to consume, which means less water for you. Let me show you another thing here, because I thought this was pretty interesting as well. They getting smart about this, right? Don't let them scare you. Don't let them intimidate you. They're trying to arrest this man. Cops arrest a man for organizing a protest against a data center. So look at this. This was in Illinois. So they're trying to scare you by trying to arrest people for organizing this. You have a right to protest in this country. Everyone has to remember their rights.
It's right here came by because I'm trying to organize a community protest against a representative who's trying to push in a data center owned by a out-of-state company, trying to suck up all our energy. I made a post. I made an event on Facebook trying to organize the community to get together. And what's your badge number? Name and badge number?
Detective Henson.
And name and badge number?
Sure. SHRP and it's 160.
Okay. Yeah. No, I have a First Amendment right to protest. And if I organize a protest on a public road, there's nothing wrong with that. I sent an email to that representative and I can show you the email. I never made a threat. I told, no, this is my house and I'm going to talk. You guys are on my property trying to intimidate me because I'm organizing a protest against a data center. Then why are you here?
Well, that's if you let me. Okay, so
let me just drop the beat for this guy because he obviously knows his rights.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give him a name to remember. Let's see how you do under pressure.
A moment can live on forever. This man knows his rights. Let's keep going.
First off,
he said it's gonna come a time, all right, but they're not gonna come this casual, man. Okay, imagine when they get to start sending them them AI drones and robots. All right, and they ain't coming to dialogue, man. Okay, so this guy he's trying to organize an anti-data center, protest, on Facebook. Okay, and just based on his posts, he's gonna get charged with a felony. When you they're gonna tell him why. It's gonna go into it, but it just shows you that this thing is real about this anti-tech extremism, man. Okay, they this shows where we at in prophecy, man. Okay, brother, want to get that in what is Revelation 13 and 11. Okay, this nigga finna get draconian, man. All right, so let's play some more of this.
Do you want to talk about this?
Talk about what? There's nothing to talk about. I'm organizing a protest and I'm allowed to do that. It's a First Amendment protected activity.
110%.
Yeah.
The issue is some of the communication, the Facebook posts. I would disagree that there's.
I haven't made a single threat. Tell me what threat I made.
Okay. Well, you know what you posted.
No, give me a quote me. Quote a threat, because I didn't make one. I'm organizing a protest on a public street, demanding a representative.
The safety of his children.
Huh?
What about the safety of his children?
Someone else made a comment about the safety of his children.
Did you?
No.
You didn't?
No, what I said if he valued his children's safety, he probably wouldn't be trying to ruin the world that they're being brought up on. And that isn't a threat. That's the fact that I'm watching this man ruin the world around here. And yes, I'm allowed to say that if someone cares about their kids, they shouldn't destroy the community that their kids are being raised in. That's not a threat.
The problem is you didn't say that in the post.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Pull it up. Pull it up and read it. Pull it up and read it.
I've been dealing with this all afternoon.
Cool. Pull it up and read it.
Okay. So that's the concerning part is obviously, yes, you have the right to make an event. You have the right to public protest, everything else, right? But
I never made a threat.
Okay. Well, we disagree and our state's attorney disagrees. Okay. So you're going to be charged today for a couple of offenses.
Seriously?
And look at that, this YouTube handle. You know, look what it say. Every day is F Israel Day. God damn. You know? And a brother can post it where we always get Isaiah 32:5 in the NLT Bible shop. Okay. Let's keep playing this.
Okay, so you're going to be charged today for a couple of offenses.
Seriously? I'm going to get charged for what?
For stalking and intimidation.
For stalking? When did I ever go to his house?
We'll explain that to you more. Okay, so you are going to be placed under arrest right now, okay? All right.
Okay,
so
let me
conclude your.
So this was Dixon, Illinois.
Yeah, man. So they, he's getting charged with, with felonies, man, for stalking. Okay. And, and threats. Threatening government officials. Based on him saying if this government official cares about, his children, why would he allow data centers to be built in the community that they have to live in? Okay. And somehow they twisted it into a threat. I don't know the ins and outs of what was posted. Okay. But this is just, the little information you get from this video. This is, supposedly the situation. Okay. But at the end of the day, it just shows you that they're starting to dispatch law enforcement, okay, about posts made on social media, okay, about the data centers, man, okay? And when you hit, something vital with Esau, when he starts to try to enforce, okay, when you go here to Revelation 13:11, and it says, and I beheld, it's the brother GMS all in, all right, the brother Anah. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon, man. Okay, so this American, okay, empire, this beast, okay, that John is seeing, okay, is this American system of American and Democrat, Republican and Democrat, this two-party system, okay, which has been speaking like a lamb, for centuries, man. Okay, both parties, with all these promises and, as if they're, the savior of the people. Okay, as if their whole duty is to, serve the people. But no, they've been serving, all right, the elites, and both parties have brought, all right, the masses of America to this technocracy, man. This technocracy is going to speak like a dragon. Okay, that's why they're making all these categories to deem people extremists for this and anti that, to justify them, all right, coming down with the hammer, man. And they want you people, to get out of pocket too, man. To really justify him, bringing, that hammer, man. They want you people to get out of pocket. Okay. And you seen, like I say, that handle, you know, they say every day is a F Israel day. Damn. But that's a sentiment out here, man. Okay. So this devil, he's dealing with, you know, an uprising, okay, from the coming people to what this devil is trying to do. You see, and this devil, he was trying to slide this new world order outfit on everybody. Okay. But these, you know, these niggas in America is bucking, man. Okay, well, this is beautiful, man, because it all works in our favor, man. We're going to see, all right, you poor Edomites clash against your elites, man. Okay, we get to watch the revolution from the front row. All right, it says, it's a brother Mark Abal. All right, this is Isaiah 32 and 5. It says, in that day. All right, and the brother can also put Mark, what is it, 3 and 23 and 24. Baba Shah. And it says, in that day, ungodly fools will not be heroes. Okay. Scoundrels will not be respected, man. And Esau is an ungodly fool, man. Okay. He's an ungodly goddamn fool, man. This is a dumb idea, this new world order. This is a completely retarded idea. Okay. This man is building, all right, data centers, okay, that turn water into pollution on the earth he has to live on. Okay? Think about what this man is doing. This man is destroying the earth, the only planet that he can habitate. He's destroying the planet, trying to be the Most High. You know, showing you the Most High. I mean, there's nothing in the Esau saying, wait a minute, let's do a timeout. Okay, let's reconsider. No, because the Lord has him hardened, okay, to fulfill his will. Okay, because the Lord wants this man to crash out, and we're watching Esau, all right, crash out, man. Okay, and it's beautiful to see this man crash out real time. Okay, and it says, let's see. Let's see. Let's go here. Yep, the water, bro. So this is the brother servants of Yahushua, Mark 3 and 23. It says, and he called them unto him and said unto them in a parable, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So we're watching the house of Edom be divided on every level. You know, the elites are divided. You know, they agree, okay, to a certain point. All right. But what do these devils always do? Okay, when they get to the point of the peak of their power, they fall out. Okay, so these devils, they're going to accomplish, you know, a few more things, okay, on the left hand that they have to do according to prophecy, man. Okay, and these devils going to fall out. Okay, so you have divisions on every level dealing with Esau, man. Okay, and what we're going to see is all these divisions begin to collide, man, on every level. Okay, from the level of the elites to the level of the poor Edomites, the middle class, you know, the well-to-do Edomites, man. We're finna see nothing but clashes, man. Okay, amongst these Edomites, man, because it's time for their empire, all right, to fall. Okay, so that was the point. You know, just wanted to get into that. You know, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters was edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, the Dash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect. Shalom.